Do you want to know something crazy about Coastal Delaware? The same beach house that costs $500,000 in one town can cost well over $2 million just 10 minutes down the road. Why does this happen? You know, maybe it's just how much certain towns have appreciated in the past years, or maybe, just maybe, location really is everything. After exploring every beach town we have from Lewes all the way down to Fenwick Island, both personally and professionally, I decided that maybe it was time to rank these unique towns into which ones have a pocket-friendly price tag and which ones have an expensive one. Now, before we get started with the rankings, I want you to take a guess at which town you think is going to be number one, because if you're thinking it's going to be Rehoboth Beach, well, you might be surprised, so stick around to the end when we get to the rankings. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to our channel where we talk about all things Coastal Delaware, from the lifestyle here to the real estate here and everything in between. As someone who has helped hundreds of families relocate here and find their homes here, I get messages every single day asking questions like, is Rehoboth really worth those crazy prices? Or why would anybody pay $1 million to live in that area? That's why I decided that it was finally time to rank the Coastal Delaware towns into 3 different tiers. Maybe from the most expensive options to the most affordable ones around here that some people may not even know about. Now, before we dive into the rankings, there are some quick ground rules that we need to cover on how we came up with these numbers. For starters, we're only talking about the actual beach towns, not inland towns near the beach. So we're not covering Milton or Georgetown or any of those types of towns. These are only ones that are right along the beach. These are ranked based on livability, amenities, affordability, and access to downtown. And sorry, Middlesex Beach fans, but we're only here to cover the major towns, not those small niche areas. And look, these are just my opinions based on selling homes here for the last 5 years. So if you disagree with me, that's certainly cool. We can still be friends. I promise you, I'm not gonna be mad if you have a different ranking than I do. But let's go ahead, let's rank them out, and let's dive into it. Starting out with tier 3, these are gonna be our most affordable options. And let's kick it off with a town that may actually surprise you in being in this tier, and that's gonna be Lewes. Now, before I actually tell you why this town only made it into tier 3, I wanna break down and give you a full picture of it. So let's start with the location and dive into some more of the specifics. Now, Lewes sits right where the Delaware Bay meets the Atlantic Ocean, giving you really the best of both worlds. You've got the beautiful bay beaches that are perfect for family or younger kids because they've got calm waters, smaller waves, and you don't have any of those rip currents that you experience in the ocean and have to worry about. So maybe you're somebody that likes to paddleboard or kayak. Again, the bay is going to be a great option for you. Then you've got Cape Henlopen State Park right downtown, which is honestly one of the best parts of living here. The park has everything from hiking trails to biking paths and fishing spots and beaches and everything in between. You really can spend all day in the park and never get bored. Now, Lewes is really accessible to other areas. You're only about 20 minutes to Rehoboth Beach and about 45 minutes up to Dover. And if you really need to get to Philly, it's only about a 2-hour drive. Plus, we've got the Cape May Lewes Ferry right in Lewes, which is a great option if you want to hop over to New Jersey and experience anything they have there. Now, I've got to be honest with you guys, Lewes isn't perfect. Like any of our other beach towns, we do deal with summer parking and traffic issues, and it can get pretty intense. Parking downtown can be challenging during peak season, really in any of our towns, but particularly in the smaller towns like Lewes. Either way, there's one thing I absolutely love about Lewes, and it feels like a town. Like, it doesn't feel like a vacation spot. It truly feels like it's been plucked right out of a Hallmark movie. And unlike some of our other beach towns here, you'll find a large full-time resident population. And that means restaurants and shops stay open year round, and you've got a real sense of community, which you may be lacking in some of the other towns. You'll find people out walking their dogs downtown, grabbing coffee at Lewes Bake Shop, or hanging out at the Canal Front Park really all year long, whereas some of the other towns become a lot sleepier in the wintertime. Now, speaking of downtown, 2nd Street is really the town's heart. You've got fantastic restaurants like Agave. Heads up though, expect to wait a couple of hours for dinner there in the summertime. It is very popular and the waits can get pretty lengthy, so just plan to grab a drink somewhere else. We've also got Touch of Italy on the corner, half full for wine and pizza, and my daughter's personal favorite, the Kids Catch Toy Store. The whole downtown area really has this amazing historic charm that you just can't find anywhere else, and that's what makes Lewes so special. Now, Lewes also has some incredible biking and walking paths, not only from Canal Front Park, but we've also got the Junction and Breakwater Trail, which connects Lewes to Rehoboth. And then we've got the Lewes and Georgetown Trail, which is currently 7 miles long, but the plan is to make it 17 miles long by the end of 2025. And it's amazing how many people you see out using these trails, whether they're biking or just walking or just getting in their daily exercise. These trails really are a great part of our area. But now let's talk about the real estate market here and what that has in store. As of late 2024, the median home price in Lewes is sitting around $588,000. That's relatively more affordable than some of the other coastal towns we're going to talk about a little bit later on, but it's still not necessarily affordable in the grand scheme of things. And trust me, that's a price that's worth paying. The location, the amenities, the school system. We've got Cape Henlopen School District, which is the high schools in Lewes. It's actually rated the #2 school district in the entire state. And it all adds up to make Lewes an incredibly desirable place to live. Besides, you've got different neighborhoods to choose from too. If you're looking for historic charm, again, downtown Lewes has these beautiful historic homes with some dating back to the 1700s and 1800s. Truly just a slice of American history. It is quite the place to be. You've also got communities, like senators and governors that offer newer construction close to downtown. And if you're lucky enough to snag one of the homes along Pilot Town Road with the canal views, those are some of the most sought after pieces of real estate in the entire area. So what's the town's potential for investment? Well, let's break it down and let's take a little bit further look. Right now, homes are taking around 58 days to sell on average, which tells you something about our market. It's competitive, but it's not crazy. It's not 2021 anymore. Now, property values have remained pretty stable over the last year, even with all the market changes we've seen nationally. So that's something to make note of as well. If you're thinking about buying in Lewes, you've got a few distinct areas to consider, and I think that we should break them down. The first neighborhood that comes to mind is the downtown area. And as I said, you're gonna find all these beautiful historic homes, again, with some of them dating back to the 1700s and 1800s. Lewes is the first town in the first state after all. The neighborhood downtown is also super walkable, leading you to Second Street shops and restaurants. But here's the thing, these homes often come with higher maintenance costs because of their age, and parking can certainly be tricky. Now, many homes downtown are gonna start around $750 for something that needs a decent amount of work, and they can easily go into the upper 1 millions and into the $2 million range for a fully restored historic home. But then you also got communities like 5 Points, which is a little bit closer to Route 1. This is a really interesting area because you've got a great mix of housing types. You got everything from detached homes to townhouses and condos, all living in the same community with some other commercial space as well, making everything very walkable. Again, choosing this area also means that you're close to everything with, you got the amenities right in the community. There's pools, tennis courts. There's some great restaurants like La Baguette. It's just an awesome French bakery that just opened up in 5 Points. And I absolutely love the stuff that they put out. But if you want something like where that's newer construction, you've got communities like Schofield and Admiral's Chase along Gills Neck Road, which are both great options as well. So it really just depends on what you're looking for. These neighborhoods do give you the modern amenities that people want, community pools and walking trails, and they're just a quick bike ride to downtown or even the beach if that's something that you want to partake in. Now, homes in these two neighborhoods typically start in the 700s and can go, again, up over $2 million depending on the lot, the finishes, the size of the home, and all that kind of stuff. One area that I think is particularly interesting right now is what I call the sweet spot. And these are gonna be the neighborhoods that are off of Savannah Road heading into town. You're getting the best of both worlds here. You're close enough to bike or walk to downtown, but you've got slightly larger lots and often better price points than being in the historic district. And plus the homes are typically a little bit newer, so you don't have as many of the upgrades that you need to make as those historic homes. Now, if waterfront living is your dream, again, you've got to check out Pilot Town Road along the canal. I think those homes are fantastic, and they are some of the most sought after in all of Lewes. And many come with their own boat docks. Fair warning though, prices here typically start around $2 million and can go up from there. And these properties do not come on the market very often. They are, again, very highly sought after. For investors, Lewes does have a strong rental market. And because we have such a strong year-round community, you don't typically see the dramatic swings in rental demand that you may see in some of our other beach towns, which does make Lewes a great opportunity for those that are looking for investment properties. But even with all these challenges, I've got to tell you, Lewes is special. The combination of history and natural beauty and strong community makes it so unique among the Delaware beach towns. And the only reason why it's ranked in Tier 3 is because you can find some homes that are more affordable here than in some of the other areas. As we take a look at our second tier, we're going to kick it off. Next on our list, Rehoboth Beach. Even though you may think this town is super expensive, there's a reason why I ranked it in Tier 2 and not Tier 1. But before I tell you that, again, let's break down the town's full panoramic views about location, amenities, and everything else to really give you a sense of why it's ranked in tier 2. Located just 120 miles from Washington, D.C., the town has been a gem for decades, but it really started to make it into people's mouths when President Biden started vacationing here when he was still vice president. Now you're about 2 hours from DC, about 2 hours or 2.5 hours from Philly, and just over 3 hours from New York City. But unlike those busy metro areas, here you'll find that mix of luxury coastal living while still having that small town charm. And besides, Rehoboth is situated right in the heart of Delaware's beach resort area. It's right in the middle of all the action. And you've got the prestigious Henlopen Acres to the north, which is actually Delaware's smallest incorporated town and home to some of the most exclusive real estate in the state. Then to the south, you've got Dewey Beach with its vibrant scene. Everything is so close by that you don't really have to worry about being far from anything when you're in Rehoboth. It really is, again, right in the middle of all the action and close to everything. The way Rehoboth is laid out is also pretty fascinating. The entire town is only about a square mile, but it's designed in this beautiful fan-shaped pattern that dates back to 1873. And unlike some other beach towns, it has managed to maintain this really compact, walkable layout where everything centers around that 1 mile long boardwalk that we have that has become so popular in the summertime. And because of how the coastline curves and the way the town is positioned, we tend to get a little bit better weather in Rehoboth than many of the other East Coast beach towns. Now, talking about the East Coast, this town is actually where you'll find some of the cleanest beaches, and you can appreciate the views on the incredible, again, 1 mile long boardwalk. The beaches have earned 5-star ratings for cleanliness, water quality, access to facilities, and so much more. So whether you're into swimming or surfing or you just want to lay out in the sun, Rehoboth's beaches are like no other. And again, they continually rank high in major publications because of how nice they truly are. But beyond the beaches, the town also does have some incredible amenities that I think it's important that we touch on. You've got Funland, which has been there for over 50 years. It's this awesome amusement park right along the boardwalk. We've got arcades, candy stores, and some of the best local dining you'll find anywhere in Delaware. Now, I used to love going to Funland as a kid, and I think one of the coolest things now is being able to take my daughter there, and she loves going there. So it's like passing on a tradition. Funland truly is a special part of our family's, enjoyment of the area. And then speaking of dining, let me tell you something cool about the downtown is we've got very few chain restaurants. Instead, you'll find about 85 locally owned restaurants in the downtown area alone. We've got everything from barbecue to sushi, from fine dining to beach food. And the best part is all of these places, or a lot of these places, I should say, are actually sourcing their ingredients locally. So it's coming straight from the source to the table. Doesn't get much better than that. And then for anyone who loves shopping, we've got the 3 major Tanger outlet centers. And remember, Delaware has no sales tax. We've got everything from Nike to North Face, and you're saving money twice because not only is it an outlet, but you're not paying the sales tax on it, which makes it a lot more affordable. And then we have one of my absolute favorite features that I mentioned, and with the Lewes one as well, is that we've got the Junction and Breakwater Trail. It's this amazing biking and hiking and walking trail that runs between Lewes and Rehoboth. It's about 7 miles of flat, crushed stone path. You've got these incredible views of coastal Delaware that you just cannot see from your car. And it's perfect for everyone from beginners to experienced cyclists. The trail is pretty flat and my 8-year-old handles it without issue. So I promise it's very doable. I'm not sending you out on some bike ride that you can't handle. Now, of course, I've definitely got to be honest with you guys. Rehoboth does have some challenges. Most notably, parking downtown during the summertime can be tough, especially around the boardwalk area. And a lot of businesses do close or reduce their hours in the wintertime. But the businesses that do stay open in the winter often run specials for locals in the off season, which is a great benefit. But again, that parking during the summer, it can be tough. The only other thing to consider is our distance from major airports. You're looking at about a 2 to 2.5 hour drive to get to any major airport, and that's really true for any of our towns. Now, we do have smaller airports in Salisbury and Newcastle, but for anything like international, or if you don't want a connecting flight, you're probably heading to Philly or Baltimore, which again is gonna be 2 to 2.5 hours. Now, before I break down the town's real estate, let me know in the comments if you were surprised by Rehoboth only being in tier 2. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get new videos just like this one with everything you need to know about living in coastal Delaware. Now let's talk about real estate. As of October 2024, the median listing price in Rehoboth is sitting at $850,000, which is actually down about 10.5% from last year. Homes in Rehoboth are taking around 49 days to sell, which tells you something about our market. Again, it's gonna be competitive, but it's not crazy. 2021 is over. Now, what's interesting is that we're seeing a lot more year-round residents choosing Rehoboth, not just vacation homeowners, which just a few short years ago, it was not the case. It was mostly vacation homeowners or investors. Now, to understand the potential investments you can make around here, we need to look into really some main neighborhoods and what they may look like for you. For example, one of the hottest areas right now in the downtown region is gonna be Canal Corcoran. It's about a mile from the boardwalk, and you'll find homes on bigger lots here, and it's a much quieter neighborhood. But for buyers looking in this area, you're typically gonna be starting somewhere around $1 million if you're in one of the townhomes, maybe just under $1 million if you're lucky, and it can quickly go up over $2 million depending on the property, the lot, and the size, and all that kind of stuff. Another neighborhood that we're seeing a lot of popularity is Rehoboth Beach Yacht and Country Club. Now, don't let the name fool you. It's not actually like a gated community that you can't get into, and you actually don't need a country club membership to live there. So just breathe a little easier. Rehoboth Beach Yacht and Country Club is one of our larger neighborhoods with multiple phases. And what's cool is you can find everything from older beach cottages to brand new luxury homes in here. And some properties are both waterfront and golf front, which is pretty unique. Again, those ones are gonna come with a little bit higher price tag. Speaking of prices, you're looking probably somewhere at a minimum of $700,000 to get into RBYCC, but the really nice properties, the ones that are gonna be either waterfront or golf front, those are ultimately gonna sell for over $2 million. Then we have Kings Creek Country Club, which is a bit different. It is a guarded community, though again, you don't have to have a club membership to live there. However, the turnover rate in Kings Creek is really, really low. Last year, I think we only saw about 10 homes sell in there over the 100 homes that are in there. And that tells you how much people truly love living in Kings Creek and what it means to them. Now, if you want the ultimate in luxury and you're truly looking to live that luxury lifestyle, you've got to check out North Shores. North Shores is where President Biden has his beach house, and it's home to some of the most sought after, luxurious oceanfront properties in all of Delaware. Now, most single family homes in North Shores start around $2 million, and then the oceanfront properties can sell for well over $6 million. Again, there's a lot of very gorgeous homes, and I think it's probably the best neighborhood we have. For investors, the rental market's incredibly strong, especially in the summertime. Now, unlike some beach towns where you might get only weekend warriors and things like that, Rehoboth tends to attract week-long rentals. This often means that there's less wear and tear on your investment property, and you can generate some more consistent income. And here's one tip: if you want to invest here, consider properties just off of Rehoboth Avenue, but before you hit Route 1. These areas often offer better value while still being close enough to bike or walk to the beach. Plus, with the Junction and Breakwater Trail nearby, you've got that added amenity that many vacationers love, which could help you boost that rental income. One thing to keep in mind about Rehoboth is that we have a pretty strict building and zoning regulations. So if you're looking to buy a home to renovate it or to bulldoze it and build something different, it can be a little bit frustrating at times, but it actually does help protect the property values by preventing overdevelopment of the downtown area. And the town is very careful about maintaining its character, so they're very selective on what homes they allow and when you can bulldoze things and all that, which is great for long-term investments. For those that are interested in development opportunities, we're seeing a lot of activity in the areas just west of Rehoboth proper. These areas offer more land and fewer restrictions while still being close enough to capitalize on the beach market and the vacationers that are looking to get downtown. The key to success in the Rehoboth market, whether you're buying a primary residence or an investment property, is understanding that this is a long-term play. We're seeing steady appreciation even with the 10.5% dip that we've seen this year. With values, they've been trending upward over the longer term, so it does still make sense from an investment perspective. And trust me, there's no place like Rehoboth. Continuing with Tier 2, we have what's often called a quiet resort town because of its sought after and laid back feeling. If you guessed Bethany Beach, you'd be correct. Located south of Rehoboth between both Dewey and Fenwick Island, we've got Bethany Beach. It's perfectly positioned to give you that peaceful beach town feel, still being close to everything. But again, it's part of the quiet resorts, and it's known for being less hustle and bustle as Rehoboth and some of the other towns. You got the Delaware Seashore State Park just to the north, which offers some incredible beaches and outdoor activities. But different from the others we've seen so far, with Bethany, you're about 2.5 hours from DC and over a 3-hour drive from Philly, which can be an inconvenience if you're looking to fly somewhere or go to one of those bigger cities. However, unlike some of our other beach towns, Bethany is perfectly positioned between the Indian River Inlet and Fenwick Island, which gives you the perfect mix of access without dealing with the big crowds, again, that we find in Rehoboth, and oftentimes in some of the other towns. Bethany tends to be a little bit quieter. What truly sets this town apart is the level of activity that you see here. Again, every time I drive down Route 1 through Bethany in the summertime, I see people out on their bikes, I see people out running or walking or riding scooters or walking their dogs. There's just so much outdoor activity going on in Bethany, and it truly is unique. The stretch of Route 1 here is actually some of the widest shoulders of the entire highway, again, making it much safer for everybody to participate in those activities without having to worry as much about the traffic that's going by them. But let me tell you about one of my favorite spots in town, the downtown area. There's this beautiful boardwalk. It's not huge. It's only about a half-mile long, but it's absolutely gorgeous, and it has everything you need. Again, I think the downtown Bethany area is truly special. The downtown area is also where you're gonna find some local shops and restaurants. We got Pomodoro's Pizza, which is downtown. By the way, it's hands down the best New York style pizza in all of coastal Delaware. And trust me, I'm a total pizza addict. I've tried them all. I think Pomodoro's is the best. Now, one thing that really stands out about Bethany is how it manages to both be a vacation destination and a true community. We don't see that very well in some of the other towns. And unlike some beach towns that completely shut down in the off season, Bethany does maintain a little bit of a balance. Yes, obviously it's quieter in the wintertime. Everywhere is around here, but it never feels deserted like some of the other towns do. And then also in Bethany, you've got these boating opportunities that you won't find in other spots, mostly because of the canal system in South Bethany. It can literally, you can keep your boat right behind your house, basically in your backyard. You can be out in the bay in minutes, and it's truly unique. It's like our own little version of Venice. Now, I've got to be honest with you guys though, Bethany does have some challenges. Like the other towns, parking can be tough in the summertime, especially in that downtown area. And that's why a lot of the surrounding subdivisions and communities offer shuttle services into the beaches, just because there's not a ton of parking in downtown Bethany. And yes, traffic on Route 26, it's the main road that goes into Bethany, can get pretty backed up during the peak summer season. So just know going in that if you're planning to go to the beach, you probably gotta leave a little bit earlier than planned. But here's the thing, the major inconveniences are exactly what helps Bethany maintain its charm. The town has deliberately kept things smaller and more controlled, which is why it hasn't become overcrowded like some other beach towns that we see along the coast, and what truly has helped it keep its character. And let's talk the numbers. Let's dive into what the real estate market looks like. As of late 2024, the median list price in Bethany is sitting around $998,000, which is up about 10.6% from last year. Now, might sound steep, but homes are actually selling for about 2.5% below the asking price on average, and they're typically on the market for around 49 days, give or take. Now, talking about the market, I can tell you that you'll find a really diverse one. Again, you've got everything from condos in Sea Colony, which is those big towers that you see right on the beach, to beautiful single family homes. We've got oceanfront homes and everything in between. So if you're looking for oceanfront, you're gonna be starting north of $3 million in those detached homes. And a lot of people don't know there are some great opportunities in the communities that are just west of Route 1 where you can still get that beach lifestyle, but it's a much more reasonable price point. Once you get east of Route 1 in Bethany, the prices go up in a hurry. So let's break down some of the key neighborhoods and investment opportunities that we are seeing in Bethany Beach. Starting with North Bethany, this is a really unique area that a lot of people tend to overlook. It's mostly residential with no real commercial district, which means it's super quiet and private. Most of the homes here will start in the 700s for a townhome, but anything oceanfront is gonna typically run you between 3 and 5 million. The nice thing about North Bethany is that you get these more private beaches without all the public access points, because each of those neighborhoods tends to have their own access point, and a lot of those neighborhoods are gated. So unless you live in there, you're probably not going to the beach there. And then we've got places like Sea Colony, which is probably one of our most well-known communities. It's a massive resort-style development with both high-rise beachfront condos and townhomes on the west side of Route 1. They really do have a mix of everything. They've got an incredible tennis program, probably one of the best in the region, and their amenities are top-notch. Now, you're typically looking at something starting in the 400s here for one of the west of Route 1 townhomes, while the oceanfront condos, particularly those in the higher levels with good views, can run you well over $1 million and even touch the $2 million range. Now, if you head into South Bethany, you'll find a spot where almost every home on the west side of Route 1, again, is canal front, which is a paradise for boaters. And as I mentioned before, a lot of times you can keep your boat right in your backyard. Now, prices here will usually start around $800,000 for a non-waterfront home, while those canal front properties typically start in the $1.2 million range. They can certainly go up from there depending on how well they're fitted and finished. Now let's talk about downtown Bethany. This is where you'll find the classic beach town home that you're probably looking for. The homes right around the boardwalk area are some of the most sought after in town, and they are not cheap. You're looking at prices that are gonna start around $1.5 million, and that's typically for something that needs a little bit of work. And they do offer a more walkable lifestyle that so many people want. You can literally walk to everything: the beach, the restaurants, the shops, the ice cream spots, the bookstores, everything right from those homes downtown. If you're thinking about investing in Bethany, the rental market here is different from what you'll see in Rehoboth and Dewey. In Bethany, we often see 2 to 3 families all renting out one large house for the week. Instead of those smaller groups, we find it to typically be a larger group kind of atmosphere for those rentals. One area that I think is really undervalued right now is what I would call the sweet spot in Bethany. Those are gonna be the neighborhoods that are just off of Garfield Parkway, but before you hit Ocean View, you're still close enough to bike to the beach, but the prices are significantly lower than what you would pay for something closer to the ocean, which I think makes this a great opportunity and that area to be a great spot. Now, for investors, something to consider is that Bethany does have some of the strictest building and zoning regulations in the area. And it can be frustrating if you're looking to do major renovations and all that kind of stuff. But just like we said with Rehoboth, it also protects the property values by preventing overdevelopment and really changing the town's character. The town is very careful about maintaining their character and what it looks like in the downtown area. For those of you that are considering new construction, there are some interesting opportunities in the Ocean View area just west of Bethany. You can often get way more house for your money there, and you're still just a few minutes to the beach. It's not far at all. And then, like I said before, a lot of those communities in Ocean View actually offer shuttle services into the beach, so you don't have to fight the parking. Now, Bethany Beach is truly one of the hidden gems in all of Coastal Delaware. And we've arrived at Tier 1, and we have 2 incredible towns in this tier. The first one is going to be Dewey Beach. And let me tell you, this place is unlike any other beach town in Delaware. Dewey Beach, it's a way of life, as they say. The location is simply perfect. You're right between Rehoboth Beach and Bethany Beach, so you've got easy access to everything going on in either town, which really does make it such a great location. But what makes Dewey truly special is that you can literally walk from the ocean to the bay in about 5 minutes. This means you can watch the sun rise over the Atlantic Ocean, you can hang out on the beach all day, and then you can walk over to the bay and watch the sunset over the bay in the evening, which is really such a cool feature of being in Dewey. But the thing you need to know about Dewey is that the town has this amazing dual personality that we see, and it truly is unique, and we don't see it in our other beach towns. Now, during the day, you've got these beautiful, clean beaches that are perfect for families and hanging out. Skimboarding is really big in Dewey. But at night, the place comes alive, especially during the summer months. It transforms into what I'd call the most energetic spot on the Delaware coast. We've got that 1 mile strip of land that turns into basically a nightclub. Places like the Starboard, which is famous for its Iron Crushes, and Bottle and Cork, which has some of the best live music you're gonna find anywhere, both really come alive once the sun goes down. And that, of course, attracts such a diverse crowd. You'll see everything from young professionals who are there to love the nightlife, and to families who have owned properties here for generations. And it's this mix that gives the town its unique character and truly makes it so special that these two can coexist in the same place. Now, the restaurant scene in Dewey is also fantastic, especially if you love that casual beach vibe. Again, places like the Starboard and Woody's have become institutions. Woody's actually makes what I consider to be the best crab cakes in all of Delaware, and they've been voted that way many times, so it's not just me that thinks it, and it's saying something for sure because they are fantastic. Now, let's look at the real estate in Dewey because it is a little bit interesting. As of late 2024, the median list price is sitting at about $1.5 million, which is up about 12.1% from last year. But here's something interesting is that homes are taking around 80 days to sell right now. So the homes are taking a little bit longer than some of our other beach towns, which tells you more about the market there than anything else. Some of it's because there are a lot of properties in Dewey that have land lease where you don't actually own the land the home sits on. You only own the improvements on the land, which makes it a little bit unique from our other towns. But the thing is, the location here really matters and can change the town completely for you. So let's take a look at the different locations and what we mean. One of my absolute favorite parts of Dewey Beach is going to be Indian Beach, which is this beautiful section on the south end of town. The homes here are just absolutely stunning. We're talking about lots that sell for $2 million plus, and homes can go north of $6 million. Now, these properties come with their own private beach access, which again is rare in Delaware. We don't see it very often. We've got another community, which is called Pine Bay. It's more of an established neighborhood, and it's been around for a while, and it gives you that quieter residential feel while still being extremely close to everything that Dewey has to offer. Now, homes in Pine Bay typically start around $1 million, but what makes it so special is that you can get some larger lots and more privacy than you find in most of Dewey. Truly hidden gem, tucked and hidden away, but still close enough that you can walk to everything. Now, if you're looking at more of the commercial area around Coastal Highway, you've got some great investment opportunities there as well. A lot of the properties here are those multi-unit buildings and multi-use buildings that can really do well as rentals. We're seeing investors pick these up anywhere from $800,000 to up north of $1.5 million. And they're often getting enough rental income through the summer months that they can cover most of their year's mortgage, if not the entire thing, which is pretty special. Now, the area around Swede Street and Bayard Avenue really is an interesting place as well. You've got a mix of older beach cottages and newer construction. And what's cool about this area is that a lot of these properties, they got decent number of setbacks, so you're not right on top of your neighbor like you might be in some other parts of town. Again, I think that stretch might be some of the best area in all of Dewey. There's something that not enough people are talking about, and that's those bayfront properties along Collins Street. Those homes are absolutely gorgeous. Most of them have their own docks, and you get these incredible sunset views over the Rehoboth Bay that you just cannot get anywhere else. Now, homes there typically are starting around $2 million for anything bayfront, but again, the rental potential is massive if that's what you're looking for. The area that I think is probably most undervalued in Dewey is those streets just off of Coastal Highway, but before you hit into where the bay is. You can often find properties here for 20 to 30% less than what you would pay if you were closer to the water, but you're still just a short walk to everything. So they truly are a great opportunity if that's where you're looking to be. Now, for anyone considering buying in Dewey, again, you've got to think about what part of town suits the lifestyle that you're looking for. The north end does tend to be a little bit quieter and more residential, while the area right around Route 1 or Coastal Highway is where you're going to find all the action, all the bars and all that kind of stuff once you're actually in the town limits. And again, for investors, Dewey does present some unique opportunities. The rental market in Dewey is very strong, especially like our other beach towns during the summer months. And what's interesting is that you get two different types of renters. You've got, these families that are coming in here for their weekly rentals with their entire family. And then you've got people that are looking for the nightlife scene. They're there to party, basically. It can work well for property owners because you can often command premium rates during those peak times, because now you've got two different types of people that are going to be looking at your property. For the more ambitious investor, there's also opportunity in some of the older properties that need work. Again, a lot of the older original Dewey Beach cottages are still standing, and they might need some significant updates, but they sit on really valuable lots. And the location there is truly where the value is. So if you're someone who wants a project, Dewey can be a great opportunity for you. Now, the commercial properties in Dewey are also worth looking at, especially if you're interested in the restaurant and bar business. Now, these properties do not come up for sale very often, but when they do, they can be incredible investments given how busy the town gets during the summer and how much traffic comes through there. We truly do see just about everybody thrive in the restaurant scene down there. Remember though, Dewey has some pretty strict building codes, just like our other towns. So if you're looking to do major renovations, or if you're looking to bulldoze something and rebuild, you will want to make yourself familiar with the rules and the restrictions prior to doing so. That way you don't buy the property, bulldoze it, and then get yourself in a whole bunch of trouble. Dewey Beach is truly incredible, but we have one more town to talk about. I think it's a truly special hidden gem along the coast. If you've guessed Fenwick Island, then you are absolutely right. This hidden coastal gem is the southernmost beach town in Delaware, and it hides some incredible opportunities within its borders. I think Fenwick is really special. But before I tell you about them, let's share with you some curiosities about its location, lifestyle, and amenities. In Fenwick, you'll be essentially surrounded by water. The Atlantic Ocean on one side, the Little Assawoman Bay on the other, creating this incredible island vibe that is totally unique to Fenwick. There's not really another town like it. Besides, you're right on the border with Ocean City, Maryland, giving you really the best of both worlds. You've got that quiet, secluded feeling when you want it, but you're also just minutes away from all of the action in Ocean City, or if you want to take a drive up to Dewey, both of them are just a short trip away. So it's really this unique blend of different areas. Now, the town's got a special vibe that's completely different from what you're going to get in Rehoboth or Dewey. And this is where people come when they want that peaceful, quiet beach lifestyle, but they still want access to everything being nearby. Now, something really cool about Fenwick is how well they've maintained that small town coastal charm, that you're not going to find huge high rises or massive commercial developments here. Instead, you've got these beautiful beach homes, many with incredible ocean or bay views and very limited commercial space. However, what is there in commercial space is pretty special. Again, it reflects in the amenities. Now, while Fenwick might be quieter than the other beach towns, don't think for a second that it means that there is absolutely nothing to do, because that is not the case. First, we've got the Fenwick Island State Park, which is incredible. It's a 3-mile stretch of pristine beach that's typically less crowded than what you'll find in some of our other beach towns because there's just less access to it. Now, for boaters and water sports enthusiasts, here you've got an ocean access for surfing and fishing. Plus, you've got the bay side for kayaking, paddleboarding, boating, all of that kind of stuff. And a lot of the luxury homes here come with their own boat slips, which is a huge draw for anyone that has a boat and is looking to store it right in their backyard. Now, if you want to take a look at the dining scene, which I can say Fenwick is typically more upscale and intimate than you'll find in some of the other beach towns, we have truly some special dining opportunities in Fenwick. Places like One Coastal and Our Harvest offer amazing fine dining experiences without the crowds that you might find in Rehoboth. Let's talk about the prices in Fenwick, why this town made it into Tier 1, and what it looks like from a real estate perspective. As of late 2024, the median list price is sitting around $1.5 million, with homes typically selling after about 42 days on the market, which tells you that the market is pretty active and prices are a lot more elevated than most of the other towns. What's really interesting about the real estate market here is the mix of properties available. You've got everything from luxury oceanfront homes that can run upwards of $4 to $5 million to more modest bayside properties that might start closer to around $800,000. The townhomes and condos here can actually be a really smart investment because you get all the benefits of the location, but often at a lower price point with less maintenance, which is very appealing for many. Now, let me break down some of the specific areas and opportunities in Fenwick, and trust me, each neighborhood has its own unique character that you'll find when you're out looking at properties. So we're going to start with Fenwick Acres, which is one of the most prestigious communities that we've got. The homes are typically larger, with mostly being around 4 bedrooms and up, and you've got these beautiful water views from most of the homes, which is truly special. Now, what's interesting about Fenwick Acres is that while you're paying a premium, typically somewhere in the $1.5 million plus range, you're getting way more land than you would in most of the other beach towns because of the way the community is laid out. Then you've got communities like Bayside, which is a resort style development with a Jack Nicklaus design golf course. Again, this place is gorgeous. If you are looking for the true resort style, amenity driven lifestyle, Bayside is it. But what makes Bayside so unique, again, is the amenities. You've got multiple pools, you got fitness centers, and they're always adding new features. Now, for investors, these properties tend to rent really well in Bayside because you're essentially offering your renters a full resort experience when they get the opportunity to be in that community. Now, Kings Grant is another area that's worth looking at. It's more of a luxury town-owned community, and what's cool about it is that many of these properties come with boat slips. So again, if you are a boater, having direct access to the bay is pretty incredible, and keeping your boat right in your backyard is pretty special to be able to just walk out the door and in 5 minutes, you're out in the bay. Now, these townhomes typically start around $800,000, but the rental potential can be significant because, again, you're offering both beach and boating access if you want to do so. Now, if you're looking for something a bit more modest, there are still some opportunities in what I call original Fenwick. Now, these are those classic beach cottages that haven't been updated, that have been around for decades. I think those are the coolest homes that are out there. You might be able to find something in the 800 to 900 range in these, but those usually need quite a bit of updating. The good news is that after renovations, a lot of these properties can be worth north of $2 million. So you could very well make your money back if you decided to sell in the future. But I think those places are special. For condo buyers, we're seeing some really interesting opportunities. You can find ocean view units with 4 bedrooms for around $1 million, maybe $1.5 million, which might sound expensive until you realize that a comparable single family home that's oceanfront would be north of $4 million. So in the grand scheme of things, it's a lot more affordable in the condo world. And these condos can be great investment properties because the maintenance is lower, because it's typically taken care of, and many people actually prefer the convenience of condo living at the beach just because they don't have to worry about all the additional stuff. So is it worth it to invest here? Well, the rental market is strong in Fenwick, especially, like I said, with the other communities, especially during the summer months. And lately, we're seeing a lot of people do what I call multi-generational buying. They're buying these larger houses that can house 2, maybe 3 families. So that way they can accommodate their entire family when they come down here for vacation. Maybe they'll use it for a few key weeks during the summer and then rent it out the rest of the time. But these properties, especially if they're oceanfront or ocean block, can command premium rental rates during the peak season. And while they sell for higher amounts, you can also generate a larger dollar amount in the rental world, so you can generate more income on it. Now, the commercial properties in Fenwick are also worth keeping an eye on. Unlike some of our other beach towns, the town has kept commercial development pretty limited. There's not a ton of commercial stuff in Fenwick, which means that these properties tend to hold their value really well. We've seen restaurants and retail spaces here consistently perform well because you've got a captive audience during the summertime. They're not going to really typically drive too far. Like if they want to walk to something, their options are kind of limited. Now, one thing to keep in mind about Fenwick is that, again, like the other beach towns, there are some building restrictions, and they can be pretty strict about the height limits and the setbacks, which is actually a great thing, again, for property values because it prevents a lot of that overdevelopment. However, if you're looking to buy a old beach cottage and bulldoze it and put a big, huge mansion on it, you just need to make sure, again, like I said before, that you want to make yourself familiar with the regulations. That way you're not stuck with something that you can't do after you've purchased it. Now, either way, I think Fenwick Island right now is, while it's one of the most expensive spots along the Delaware coast, it's still one of the absolute best spots, and it's going to be a great spot for years to come. So there you have it, a complete breakdown on Coastal Delaware's beach towns. Whether you're looking for something more affordable like the western side of Lewes, or you're looking for a luxury oceanfront property that's close to a lot of the mix, but it's still quiet in a place like Fenwick Island, there really is something for everyone here. And if you're thinking about making a move to Coastal Delaware, whether it's Rehoboth or Lewes or Fenwick or Dewey or anywhere in between, me and my team would love to help, and we'd love to be your real estate resource of choice here at the Delaware beaches. So all of my contact information is going to be down below in the description. If we can help in absolutely any way, don't hesitate to reach out. And before you go, if you want to learn more about these Coastal Delaware towns and why they might be the perfect fit for you, check out some of our other videos right here on our channel, and we hope to see you on the next one. Peace.